Fucking yes, mate. 'Cause we stay all late. And I'm wide awake. I'm not coming home tonight. So the next time when I'm borderline, I'll read you this note. I'm not coming home tonight.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Pass Interference Podcast. I am your host, as always, Max Whirling. How's everybody doing today? I hope you're having a fantastic week. We just had a slate of pretty awesome week one games. I mean, it's good to have football back. This week's episode's going to be a little bit different. Unfortunately, John had scheduling issues, so John will not be on this episode. I am waiting for his text message so that way I can get all his information for the picks that he's doing. But we move on, we move forward. John will join us next week, hopefully, and we'll get all that stuff sorted out. So, not joining me to my imaginary right is not John, but still joining me to my imaginary left, as always, it is the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Bronson Pompilio. How are you, sir?
I am good, man. Glad this first week is behind us. I always hate the first week of the season, but we're in there. Lots and plenty to talk about.
All right. Well, that is a good thing. So we're excited for what's coming up for the next coming weeks. We're not going to talk about a certain player on the show because fuck that player. I'm done talking about Antonio Brown. So any other news that comes out, unless it actually comes out and is without a shadow of doubt real and anything like that, I'm over it. I'm done with it. We didn't touch on it last week because it just broke during the weekend, but Antonio Brown was released by the Raiders. He's now on the Patriots, which is going to be hilarious, I think, because I think it's going to be the end for the Patriots. So, otherwise, yeah, let's just move on to the games that happened this week. First game of the week, it was a Thursday night game. It was the game that I'm sure Bronson is not looking forward to talking about. The Green Bay Packers went into Hallis Field there, Soldier Field, and yeah, I mean, it was a pretty boring game. Green Bay comes away with the win 10-3. Bronson, like I said, you're the Bears expert. It's your team. I mean, what did you see? What did you see from the Packers? What did you see from the Bears?
I saw what it really can look like when teams don't play all their starters in the preseason. The Packers and Bears both played like ass on offense. Luckily for the Packers, and with having Aaron Rodgers, all they needed was one play. They got that one play. They were able to convert it into a touchdown. I think both defenses played really well. I think the Packers defense looked better because of how bad our offense was playing.
Mm-hmm.
The offensive line was terrible. The play calling became predictable for the Packers defense to figure out the Bears because, I mean, we threw 45 passes and ran the ball 12 times, which is just stupid. How do you have Tariq Cohen invest money in Mike Davis and then trade up in the draft and take David Montgomery to only give Montgomery 7 carries, Mike Davis, I think, 5 carries, and Tariq Cohen 0 carries. It was just stupid. across the board. Every time Tariq came on the field, they knew it was a passing play. Every time we got on the damn field, the defense knew it was going to be a passing play.
Right.
There was just zero strategy. It just seemed like Matt Nagy was like forcing the issue of Mitch being the quarterback. Like, I want him to be our quarterback. I believe he's our quarterback. But don't come out week one and expect Mitch Trubisky to play like Patrick Mahomes. That's not going to happen. The kid started all of 13 games in college. He is only 1 year removed from your system. You can't just put the entire fucking play calling into his hands and expect him to understand and execute what Nagy envisions. It's just not gonna fucking happen. And this is exactly Nagy. Whenever he feels pressure, he resorts to throwing the ball instead of reeling it in, balancing out the offense. He would rather and feel more comfortable throwing versus running the ball. This is exactly what happened when he was the play caller in Kansas City, when they were up 30 plus points. In the second half, they completely abandoned the run game, and they just threw. And then guess what? They ended up losing the game. This game just looked like that to me. I mean, we weren't really ever up, granted, but it was just terrible. And if you think we're going to go into Denver and do the same shit that we just did and put on the field, we are going to lose every fucking time. That's about all I got to say on that.
Yeah, the bits I did watch from the game, I couldn't watch the game fully. I went out to dinner, and unfortunately, they didn't have the game on. They had TV there, and I'm like, can we put the game on? They're like, oh, we're sorry, the TV's broke. And I'm like, fuck! So I had to watch it from my phone, and I couldn't really focus because, I'm trying to have a conversation with my wife. But the stuff I did watch, Rodgers didn't look good. Everybody talked about Rodgers is back. I even was hyping up Rodgers to a certain extent, and he did not look good. He did not look like Aaron Rodgers. He looked like a mediocre quarterback. And we talked about it last year with Mitch Trubisky, is that whenever he gets excited or whenever he gets, flushed out or, whatever the case may be, he gets happy feet. He can't set his feet for whatever reason, and he tends to either sail a throw or short a throw or something happens. And you saw a lot of that during the game, and you also saw a lot of him. There was one play where he had Allen Robinson on the sideline, like completely wide open. And I don't know if he just didn't see him or what the case may be, but he tucked it in for like a 2-yard gain, I think on like a third down. So, it's going to be interesting to see what's happening with both these teams in the upcoming, because we'll talk about the Minnesota game here, but Minnesota looked fucking great this week. The Lions, not so much. I'm not concerned about the Lions, but and I think just like what we predicted all this offseason, it's going to be a dogfight in the NFC North all this year.
Yeah.
So we'll move on from that. It was actually a pretty terrible opener, but hopefully the teams right their ship and we get some better results from them come week 2. So the next game that I've got on my slate, on my ESPN slate, is the Tennessee Titans going into Cleveland. Everybody was hyped up for the Cleveland experience, and I don't know how much of you watched. I literally watched last week or a couple days ago. I literally watched every highlight of every game. So Baker looked good for the first 3 quarters, and then he did what I like to call hero ball, whereas you play in front of your home crowd, you're down by a touchdown or two, and you just try to start forcing throws. And that's what he did. And that's why we got the result of 43-13. Make no mistake, I mean, you know, Tennessee's defense was fantastic all throughout. They terrorized that Browns offensive line. And that was that was what I wanted to see. But their offense, Tennessee's offense, was not that particularly well. I mean, they had the Derrick Henry touchdown, but that was just one play. Otherwise, Mariota didn't really do much. I mean, it was just all Derrick Henry. So
the rookie receiver looked really
and A.J. Brown,
too.
right. And A.J. Brown looked phenomenal, which a lot of people thought he should have been a first-round quarterback. And I'm not going to disagree necessarily, but...
Wide receiver.
I'm sorry, yeah. Wide receiver. Sorry, still waking up, people. Midnight shift. Woo! First round wide receiver. But... they got him in the second round. He's going to look like a stud next to Corey Davis there. But, yeah, I mean, and their defense led up just the big plays, which I talked about before. I wanted to see what their defense could do. They revved up the pressure, and they got Mariota a couple times. But Denzel Ward, that was my key last week, Denzel Ward did not play a particularly good game at all.
Yeah, it seemed like the whole Browns team was like lost. I mean, when they took that safety, I was like, yeah, this is done.
Yeah, they need an offensive line the worst way. So they need to right the ship. And then of course you had Greg Robinson getting kicked out for the second half of the game, which
that's when it went downhill from there.
Yeah. So maybe Cleveland can right the ship. Tennessee goes in with a pretty good win going into week 2. But speaking of pretty good wins, the next game, probably the most shocking game, I think, this week. Baltimore they basically whipped their dick out. Lamar Jackson whipped his dick out and slapped all his haters across the face who said he couldn't throw a football. As he went in there and they beat the Miami Dolphins. The Baltimore Ravens beat the Miami Dolphins 59-10. They beat the brakes out of Miami. Miami looked so bad that I honestly think a college team could beat them. And it's bad when not only were they disgruntled about the Tunsil trade, but after this game, half the players were like, I want to be traded or released. That's not good.
Yeah. Congrats to Lamar for having a hell of a game, but I also think it's one of those games where it's like, how well do you really gauge a team when you're playing a team that bad, because it's gonna. I think every team that plays Miami this year, the game is gonna look that way because they have absolutely no one, and I don't think you don't come back from starting your first game of the season to a 59-point burger dropped on you. And after all the players were just shipped out of Dodge,
it's going to be a very long season.
Yeah. You got all these rookies and first and second year players. There's no identity on that team whatsoever. It's pretty bad that your go-to vet and only vet is Fitzpatrick, and it's not looking like he's going to be sticking around anytime. You have no vets on defense, no vets on offense outside of Fitzpatrick. It's bad. There's no one there to rally that team.
Right, and it's not going to be good times in Miami this year.
No, not at all, dude.
This is the year where Bruno's already cheering for the Philadelphia Eagles. So. Yeah. But regardless of Miami, because they're just not going to be good this year. Period. They might squeak out a win,
I don't know if they do, man.
It's going to be interesting to watch. I think ultimately they do. I think you have to be.
Who could they beat?
They could probably
Because-
squeak out a lucky win against Buffalo or New York in their division. I think
don't
they
see
could
them
squeak out a
beating the
win.
Jets. I don't see them beating the Jets.
Maybe Buffalo. If they get a couple, if Minka gets a good couple interceptions off of Josh Allen, because Josh Allen is still raw, I think they could squeak out maybe a win.
Maybe.
But it'll be interesting to see. Regardless though of that, I know you said that you can't really gauge, but the throws I did watch of Lamar Jackson, they were crisp. I mean, not just normal,
They were
like
crisp. Absolutely. I
Oh
completely
my-
agree with you. But if you watch every single play,
mhm.
okay, so like before, I want to say the first fucking quarter. I could be wrong about the time frame of the game, but there was
Mhm.
already a point in the game where he had only thrown 9 passes with 300 yards. Like, that's stupid. And when Lamar was in that pocket, if you watch those plays, there was literally no pressure.
And we talked about that last week too. I said there was nobody on that team that had more than 3 sacks.
Yeah.
So
There was literally no pressure. Lamar had no stress. He literally, I mean, it looked like an exhibition game, man. It looked like fucking Madden was getting played. Like, the game was being super simmed. It was just bad, dude.
Oh yeah.
It was just huge gain after huge gain after huge gain. No
Well,
drives.
I was going to say, I will say this. I like the fact that Lamar, though, he didn't scramble. He stayed in the pocket, even though he didn't have to scramble. He could
He didn't
have.
have to scramble. He didn't have to do anything. He literally had no fear. There was no reason to fear anything on that team. Someone in Miami texted him the night before and be like, bruh, you're good. Like, don't get fret.
Yeah. And it was also a great debut for Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, it was. Absolutely. I'm not going to take anything away from that. What I saw was great from them. I just don't see that being an every week thing.
No, it can't be. It's not going to be because everybody was like, "Oh, he's the next Mahomes." No, let's pump the brakes a little bit on that. Let's just
Like, I just, it's one of those games where it just feels like you just really set the fucking bar now.
yeah.
You know, like that's insane. Like, you just put the bar up this level, and so if you don't perform at that level, once you have tougher games and tougher opponents, like, I don't see them doing that against any other opponent this season. Like, I don't see.
No, I don't see another 59-point game, but I think this game was more about proving to a lot of people that Lamar Jackson can throw a football. He can be a competent quarterback, and this Ravens team has a new look to their offense, which, again, regardless of the team they played against, to put 59 points on them, phenomenal for them. And it was a great start to their season. Let's see how it plays out for the rest of the season, though. I will say pump the brakes a little bit. We've seen teams start off hot and then just run cold towards the end. So let's see what happens. The next game on the slate, the Atlanta Falcons versus the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, I don't know what happened in Atlanta. It was like all of a sudden they forgot how to score. They forgot how to play offense, and they really didn't pick up the rhythm until the fourth quarter. Whereas Minnesota looked like they were firing on all cylinders. Dalvin Cook being healthy again is scary.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that scared me the most about that game.
Yeah, he is a bad man. I think last year...
And the Vikings defense is playing really well again.
Yeah, and if the Vikings defense... and that was my concern last week. I wanted to see how the Vikings defense played because they didn't impress me that much. But
right, and I said that they would play well again, but I also said it was not going to be a high-scoring game and very low-scoring. Thank you, Atlanta, for making me look like an idiot.
Regardless, Dalvin Cook, it's I know you're not, again, it's your division, but I am glad to see that he is healthy. You definitely saw last year he was not 100%, and you could tell that he didn't have that explosiveness that he had coming out of college. So in his rookie years, so Minnesota looks like a threat in the NFC North, but again, we take it week by week in the NFL.
I mean, honestly, granted, the Bears-Packers game was so ugly, but all three of those teams blew me away in some degree. Like, I did not like seeing that Green Bay defense. It did not sit well with me.
I know it's crazy to think that a good chunk of their starters they bought this offseason and the Green Bay defense.
I also, like I said, I think part of it is with how bad our offensive line played. It was. I think Cody, Kyle, and James all accounted between the three of them, I think, for like 14 or 15 pressures that game.
Yeah.
Allowed.
Yeah.
Like the tackles played well, but the centers and the guards were not communicating well. They weren't dropping off their blockers or their defenders to the other guy. They weren't like communicating. Like Harry needs to like pull his like playbook out and start slapping my dudes in the face. But anyway, yeah, Minnesota really fucking good as of right now. They deserve first place. I want to see them play against a team that seems to know how to play defense, because I thought the Falcons knew how to play defense,
and they did not in any way, shape, or form.
All the starters being back and healthy, like Dan Quinn, no excuses, bro. No fucking excuses. Like that was just pitiful football. And on the offensive side, like sure, Dirk Cutter's back, and maybe there's going to be some like weird, like, oh, but I just went from this system, a college system, to like a Dirk Cutter system again. So like maybe there's like some growing pains there, maybe. But like, come on, you have Julio, who did nothing up until like the last 2 minutes of the game. Like when it's irrelevant in garbage time. You had Calvin Ridley, non-existent. The run game, non-existent. It was just like, what? And I think a lot of it, too, and I think this may be a theme as the season goes on, but, like, I'm not going to be surprised. I may, like, with them not having Tevin Coleman on that field lined up with Devontae, could make them a little bit more predictable, because people aren't scared of Ito Smith.
No, and Devontae Freeman did not look good in any way, shape, or form either. He does not look like the same player from last year.
Defense were like, all right, now all we got to do is worry about Freeman. I mean, Tevin was a threat in running and catching the ball out of the backfield. Like, that was a big fucking back. Like, the fact that he was as fast as he was and had hands and was like, I think he was like 6'1", dude, or is.
Yeah.
Now he's hurt on the Niners, but like, he was a mismatch. So like they couldn't just fixate on one or the other. So I wonder if that like shows Freeman's true colors as like the primary back. So we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, they've got to regroup. They have to regroup hilariously enough. Even though, and we all thought they were going to come back, Atlanta, but yet they need to figure it out. Tevin Coleman, 6'1", 210. So
stupid size. Stupid size.
The next game we got is the Buffalo Bills going into New York. It was an ugly game. I mean, It
was. But I was honestly, because at one point I was like, well, this is the Jets game. Like, they've shown me enough to, like, they're going to win this game. Buffalo had done absolutely nothing. The Jets' defense was just completely and utterly destroying the Bills. Mm-hmm. Like, everything I had said about the Bills, like the receivers and all that nonsense was just coming to light. And then, like, right when you thought it was over, Josh Allen brought him back. And
Yeah.
so, like, if there was anything, I was like, all right, well, they're not terrible. Like, I'm not giving them a top 5 draft pick, but, like, I was just really impressed with that Josh was able to bring them back. And, like, was after a while, he was able to score on that defense. I mean, it almost went to overtime, right? Or did it?
No, it didn't go to overtime. If Vedvik would have made a extra point, it would have gone to overtime. But
We should talk about big fat LOL, man.
I know. After everybody was hyping him up, he had a great preseason for the Ravens. He goes to the Vikings, fails at the Vikings. He gets picked up by the Jets, who were thinking about trading for him, and has a terrible week 1 and is gone just like that. I mean, you want to talk about job stability in the NFL? Kicking is the least stable job. Unless you've proven yourself for like 3 straight years, kicking is an unstable job. And even then, it's still unstable.
Yeah, I know, right?
But I did watch the highlights. I mean, they had him, and then Mosley got hurt towards the end of the fourth quarter. Darnold didn't take the steps I thought he because, like I said, in the preseason he looked decent. You know, he looked like he could lead his team down the field, and all of a sudden he just.
I think a lot of it is in the preseason. It was probably really simple Adam Gase plans, and Adam Gase runs a complicated offense, so like I'm expecting him to like show growing pains, and I mean he went from like a vanilla style offense in New York with Todd Bowles to like Adam Gase's like convoluted dink and dunk screen deep, whatever the fuck you want to call his attack.
Yeah,
his Tim Tebow football.
But it'll be interesting.
Funny enough, because they just traded for Demaryius Thomas. So
yeah, so we'll see what they can do to open it up. They've got. I mean, their defense, like we talked about, their defense came back and looked strong and heavy. It's just all dependent on that offense and what Darnold can do. So I thought Le'Veon, even though he didn't have many yards or whatever, I thought he still looked good. I'm surprised they didn't.
Le'Veon.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't game plan him for more, but maybe they're test driving him essentially for the first couple games before they ramp it up to see what they have. I don't know, but yeah, they should have had this game. They lost. Buffalo gets kind of like a cheap victory, but I think the Jets are still going to be okay. I think Buffalo still needs to work on some things on offense. Get this man a wide receiver. So, Washington at Philadelphia. Tale of two halves, man. We were dominating Philadelphia like nobody's business for the first half, the Redskins, and then come the second half, it was, I don't know what happened.
Geis got hurt, and Jay Gruden abandoned the run game because he didn't have a fucking bell cow because he healthy scratched Adrian Peterson.
I don't get that at all, man.
Special teams, man. We need more people on special teams.
Yeah, no, and that's and this is an example of why if the Redskins play like this, because you can't blame the game on Case Keenum. Case Keenum had a fantastic game.
Nah, dude, I couldn't believe Case. When they were commentating the fucking game, they called him Kirk Cousins. He looked like Kirk Cousins there for a moment because of that goddamn number 8.
Yeah, I know, and he
played really well, dude.
Yeah,
he was dropping dimes. McLaurin looks like the real fucking deal.
Oh yeah, Scary Terry, man, I love Scary Terry. So he's going to be a great addition. And the thing that killed us though, and I hate it because it's so true. Deshaun Jackson, the former team killer. I don't know what it is about Deshaun Jackson, but whenever he plays a former team, he fucking plays lights out. It's like all of a sudden the switch turns on. He's like, hey, I'm gonna be good this week. So
yeah, he toasted Josh Norman.
Yeah, I just, from what I saw and everything like that, it was a tale of two halves, and they have to right this ship, because they yeah, if they don't, I will say this: if they play like this for the rest of the year, where it's like they play great for one half or whatever, but play shitty for the other half, Gruden gets canned early.
I hope so. I don't want Gruden on that team.
I don't either, man. I'm so done with it. I mean, he's a great offensive mind, but he is losing that team, and there should be no reason at all they should have lost this game. They should have easily went in there. We should have won this game hands down. Perfect.
Yeah, you guys were up, I don't know, 2 or 3 scores at one point, and then it should have just been like, all right, we should be running the ball and playing defense, and well, you didn't have a back. Like, you can't ask Chris Thompson to take the fucking ball 15 or 20 carries, you know.
No, he's a receiving back. He's just a receiving back. So.
And that's what I'm saying. You can't ask that of him. So
no,
he screwed himself before the game ever started because he took AP out of the goddamn game.
Right, and the crazy thing about it, too, was the fact that a lot of veterans were like, why are you taking our best running back out? Because just like we saw with Dalvin Cook last year, Dalvin Cook was not 100% ready to go after his ACL tear. And now you're asking Darius Geis, who's, again, coming off the same injury, to come in and be this bell cow back. And it's like, listen, why don't we just ease him in? Why can't we split the carries between the two? You know? I'm sure
why
AP...
why is your 53-man so fucked where you can't carry 3 running backs into a game?
Yeah,
so... That's just ridiculous. That's just poor coaching. That's just, literally poor coaching.
Yeah, don't get it at all. So, Philadelphia, though, I mean, Carson Wentz had struggles the first half, but looked great in the second half. They need to get their running game going. Jordan Howard had a couple decent runs, but they need to figure out what they're going to do for the running game.
Yeah, I know. They looked like the Bears, man, honestly. They're like, oh, Sproles, Howard, you know, so Tariq Cohen, Mike Davis, and then you got your new guy, Montgomery.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cough, cough, Melvin Gordon, cough, cough.
Yeah.
So, the Rams at Carolina, pretty damn good game. 30-27, the Rams win.
I know, dude, I was so close to getting that one right.
I know, but, I mean, from what I saw from that game, the Rams defense did play pretty decently, except against Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is just, he's otherworldly right now, man. He's slowly creeping up to be like, hey, you know, best running back? That's me. Hi. So,
remember that guy that you didn't vote into the Pro Bowl last year and had 2,000 all-purpose yards and like 115 catches? Yeah, that's me.
That's me. So, but yeah, I actually can't remember too many highlights from this. I honestly can't remember. So I don't know what you remember from this game.
It was McCaffrey and like a slugfest. DJ Moore hurt him early with like a fumble that the Rams were able to turn into points. God. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I think didn't Brian Burns have a good game?
Yeah, I mean both defenses played well, not great, not terrible, well, with like, you know, points scored and everything. Everyone was just surviving. The Rams, I'd say like they played shittier on defense later in the game. The Panthers kept the offense in the game with how well they played because they scored early, and then I felt like there was like 2.5 quarters where the Rams didn't do anything. They were just needing fucking field goals to like fight off the Panthers. So yeah,
right. And from what I'm just looking at, both the kickers missed their field goals for Carolina and LA. Jared Goff didn't look particularly good as the highest paid quarterback in the NFL now, or the most guaranteed money in the NFL now. Todd Gurley, I mean, good to see him back running decently well. I mean, Malcolm Brown got the touchdowns, but Gurley looked good. That's about it, really. It was a good slugfest. That's about it. So, I could see this if Carolina can play like this every week. I could see this being a playoff game in the future. So,
Yeah, definitely like a wild card.
yeah, definitely. So, Kansas City at Jacksonville. More Kansas City offense goodness. Sammy Watkins, fucking out of nowhere. It seemed like, yeah, just had an awesome game. Now they're going to be dealing with some injuries. They have Tariq Cohen out, or not Tariq Cohen. I'm sorry, Tyreek Hill. Sorry, my brain's scan. Tyreek Hill is out for 4 to 6 weeks with a broken clavicle, but the way they said it, it seemed like he was going to be out for like ever, because they said that originally that his clavicle went into his sternum, and I'm like, those two things shouldn't happen. I'm not a doctor, but that shouldn't happen. But I guess it's just a normal broken clavicle. So he's out 4 to 6 weeks. Luckily, they drafted Mecole Hardman in the second round of this year's draft, because he's just another, cog in the wheel. You can just throw him in there, and he's basically Tyreek light. But the defense looked pretty okay. Still shaky. Jacksonville, we're gonna get in the Gardner Minshew era, because
he played really well. Hats off to that kid.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with him.
Yeah, he was officially, by the way.
I thought he was going to come out and throw like 3 picks and.
No, he had.
Washed.
No, he had a. Let's see now.
No, he had a really fucking good game. He threw like 250 yards, 2 touches, and I think an INT.
Yeah, he was 22 of 25, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. And, I mean, Nick Foles' stat line before he got injured, 5 of 8, 75 yards and a touchdown. And he threw a gorgeous pass on the play he got injured. That's what ultimately cost him, maybe his season. He's going to try to come back. But it'll be interesting to see what Jacksonville does. They traded for Joshua Dobbs, who was the backup in Pittsburgh for a little bit there, and I really like Josh Dobbs. So they have a great backup there, and let's see what Minshew can do. Who is, by the way, the first quarterback who was the first quarterback in the 2019 draft class to play his first games. So yeah, hats off to Jacksonville. Jalen Ramsey, overrated or not?
I wouldn't say overrated. I think he better pull his head out of his ass and quit thinking right now that he's the best ever, because currently he's not playing like the best ever.
No.
I mean, he kind of got torched all fucking game, and he kind of blew some coverages there with Sammy. The last 2 seasons, I'd say he was the best, if not arguably the best.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's in his contract year. So, what is he doing? Is he playing the game? Is he playing the system? Is he going to settle for mediocrity and get himself the fuck out of there? Because that's what I would do. I'd be like, I just saw my quarterback kind of take himself out for the next 6 weeks. Yeah, I don't want to do this here. So he could play above average, sign a contract that's still going to be gross in the off season, and go somewhere else. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a trend we see. So who knows? But yeah, he played like shit. Sammy Watkins played like he was a fucking all-pro and been doing this 10 years, which was just stupid. He peaked. That was his best game of the season. Yeah. I mean, he's never going to do that again this season. I mean, there's just no fucking way.
Yeah.
It's Sammy Watkins. It's probably his best game of his career, honestly. But yeah, I think the 2 things that I came away with this game is one quarterback got hurt and the other one damn near got hurt. So, Glad to see Mahomes is fine. I'm sorry for Nick Foles, but a little happy for him at the same time too, because then he gets to spend a little bit of time with his wife that I feel like they both need. So that makes me happy. So
Yeah.
it's a bittersweet moment, but
Yeah.
Chiefs looked good. Let's move on.
Yeah. Move on to what I thought was the contender for game of the year, or game of the week. Indianapolis at the Chargers. Indianapolis fought back, and they were down, and they came back. They scored a tying touchdown, got a 2-point conversion. I thought I had this game too. I thought they had all the momentum, and then the Chargers just, they shat on them at the end. Austin Eckler looked fantastic for the Chargers. Marlon Mack was impressive, but I think the most impressive, and I think this is why Indianapolis, even though they lost this game, I think the reason that Colts fans should have hope is because Brissett played great. He absolutely, he didn't, obviously, he's not entirely Andrew Luck where he's captain comeback, but he did a damn good job what he was given to basically, like, here you go, here's the keys to the NFL franchise, see what you can do. And I thought he looked great.
Yeah, he did play one hell of a game given the circumstances, and thinking 2 weeks ago that he'd be a fucking backup. So
yeah. Whereas the Chargers, I thought they would get off to a slow start. They had a great first half, and in the second half they started to trail off, but hats off to them for coming back. They need to get their own stadium, by the way, because the Colts, when they scored that touchdown, I don't know if you listened to the replays or whatever, but I mean, the Colts scored a touchdown, and all you could hear was cheers, not boos. You could hear cheers, and it was bad. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude.
It seemed like LA had a lot of Colts fans.
Yeah. So they need to.
I mean, that's not going to change if they get their own stadium, though. I mean,
but there might be.
If you go to a Tampa Bears game in Tampa, or a Dallas Cowboys game and Bears game in Dallas, there's like this weird thing that just suddenly happens where it's like 60-40 Bears. It's like, what? I mean, you saw when we were at the Bucks game, there were more fucking Bears fans than Bucks fans. And when I've been to Dallas Cowboys games and Bears games in Dallas, there's more Bears fans than Dallas. Fucking Dallas.
Yeah.
And it's because these cold states, people migrate from them. So if you're like a fan of a northern team, especially in the Midwest, you find them in these warmer climates. There's a lot of Chicagoans in Florida and Texas because of the job opportunities out there or retirement.
Yeah.
Maybe Indianapolis people really like LA. And it's the complete opposite of what Indiana's asshole of America look is. I can say such things, but maybe that's what it is. Maybe and then, LA has gone without a team, and then like the Colts are like one of those throwback teams, man. They were the Baltimore Colts, and then they went to like Indianapolis. So like the Colts are kind of cool to like if you like the whole history of the franchise, not just Indianapolis Colts. Like if you liked Johnny Unitas, then you're probably, you're just someone who lived in an area who could pick any team and you pick the Colts.
Yeah. I think ultimately though, it depends. I mean, they have to figure out. I think moving though from Los Angeles or from San Diego to Los Angeles is just still stupid. You had a fan base there. They weren't going to build you. They were trying to not build you a new stadium, but come on, you had the fan base there. Now you're in fucking Los Angeles in a 25,000 seat stadium. Not even that good of a stadium. You're in 25,000 and 90% of it's filled with the other team's fans. Yeah. So, yeah, they done fucked up a run. So, otherwise, I mean, the Chargers look good. Otherwise, Phillip Rivers, the the impregnator that he is fucking impregnated this Colts defense. So good on him. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I think there's hope for you Colts fans. I really like what I saw. If they can tighten up that defense. Oh, speaking of defense, Malik fucking Hooker's interception. Holy shit, that was catch of the year for me. Like, dude, one-handed, like making it like seem like it was no big deal at all. Like, I fucking love it, man. So. I love it. So, moving on, a close game. I didn't think it was going to be this close, but Cincinnati going into Seattle,
Dude,
going
Andy
into the 12th
Dalton
man.
played so well.
Andy
So
Dalton's
well.
playing for his job. Whether it's this job in Cincinnati or another job for next year, he's playing for his job.
Yeah, I was impressed with Zach, his head coaching debut. I liked his personality on the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's got a charisma, and like, I know he's a McVay guy, right?
Yeah. He's he was the quarterback coach for the Rams.
Yeah,
last year.
like I liked his swag. He was energetic, but like not a dick. Like, what's his face? They missed a field goal or whatever after driving up the field, and I forget what the play was, but like he looked at the team as they were coming off the sideline, and he was just like, "Hey man, it happens. It happens." That's what he said.
Yeah.
I could read his mouth, and I was just like, "Oh, that's refreshing."
Rather than
Like, he
Marvin Lewis's cold stare
Yeah.
that he just like.
Yeah, or yelling and cussing and like threatening to kill their mothers or whatever. But I don't know, and he went into a very hostile environment, and he put on an offensive performance. I mean, he coached a fucking better game than my coach. And Andy Dalton played really well. He was throwing the ball really well. John Ross looked like he's been doing this well
His
for
entire
like
career.
the last 3 years, which was just random. So maybe Zach can actually turn him into a viable weapon. That would be
Contract year for him, so
that'd be fun to see. And I'm curious to see what this team looks like when they get AJ Green back. Tyler Boyd is very underrated. He's proving that he could be a number one receiver.
mm-hmm.
He's like a better version of Marvin Jones and Mohamed Sanu.
I mean, think about their offense when they do get AJ Green back. If they can keep up John Ross's momentum, you've got AJ Green, Tyler Boyd, and John Ross and Joe Mixon. He needs to get back. I don't know. Both teams couldn't really run the ball. Credit to their defenses on both teams to stop the run. But yeah, it's not so bad in Cincinnati. I thought Seattle looked a little flat though on offense. I mean, they squeak out and win, but
I think they're struggling with that receiving core. And
yeah,
if
DK looked good. DK did look good.
He did have like a 46-yard catch that was really nice on like very tight coverage. That
I think he was 4 of 84 or something like that. So yeah. He had a great debut, but yeah, the depth is going to be.
But like
key.
right now, their passing situation is like we have to run the ball and deep out routes, like go routes,
Yeah.
and it's like if that doesn't work, then they have nothing because they don't have a guy that can go up the middle of the field and take those big hits and make those catches. They just don't have that player. Maybe DK can, but.
As of this junction, he's more of a go route guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's because they're like easing the offense on him and like not asking a lot of him. So maybe they start slow in that regard, but they never addressed the tight end position. Like ever since Jimmy Graham left, they're like, fuck it. They have like serviceable guys, but nothing great, nothing to like impose fear into a defense.
Right.
And I also think their offensive line's a little shoddy, so it's like you guys got to do something. I mean, something. Like,
Yeah. But otherwise, I think Jadeveon Clowney in his debut looked fantastic as well.
yeah.
He was in the backfield a good chunk of the time, so I thought he. I don't know if he necessarily showed up on the stats sheet, but he did look good in his debut. But yeah, they have to tighten some things up. I'd love for them to get another wide receiver somehow, but we'll see. But we move on to a pretty boring game. I really don't want to talk about it. Dallas, or Giants going into Dallas. Dallas basically demolished them, 35-17.
This is another game that I was just saying with like the Ravens. Like everyone was like ready to like fucking write them off as like Super Bowl champions. Like here we go. It's like you're playing a bad team. Like
Yeah,
fucking temper expectations. Like
they have.
Twitter was blowing up.
Oh, I know.
About the Ravens and the Cowboys, and I was just like, why? Like, why? Like, if it was like the Chiefs or Rams, I'm like, okay, yeah, you can celebrate a little bit, but you're playing a team that was literally in the top 5 in draft picks this year, top 3.
Yeah.
And like, what are you doing? They had no defense, and Dak's like throwing 4 touchdowns. Oh my God, pay him. It's like, what? Like, settle down. It's one divisional game against a really bad team.
Yeah.
Chill,
and I mean, their offense, I will say this, the Giants offense looked decent. I mean, they weren't mind blowing, but they looked like they were at least competent enough.
They look like a project team. Like, all right, we have a vet quarterback we're just waiting to pull the plug on. All of our receivers are either hurt or suspended, and we have Saquon. Yay!
Yeah, but their defense is not good at all.
No.
Period. And they were never going to be good at all. So, yeah, I get it because Dak's going to get his money. And, good for him. I think, he's tried to prove he deserves it. I would still wait a couple more weeks just until you play an actual good team. But they're not. They're probably going to pay him some stupid amount of fucking money. And it's going to be awful. And I'm going to love it when they're pressed up against the cap and they can't afford anything. So.
Yeah, I mean, once they sign Amari, I mean.
They won't have any money. Yeah. So
it's gone.
Next game, Detroit and Arizona. It was a boring game for the first 3 quarters, and then Arizona fought back, and unfortunately ended in a tie. Which, can we get rid of ties in the NFL, please? So fucking done with ties in the NFL. A tie is literally like getting a blowjob about to come. And then the girl's like, I'm done, and then walks away. No, you do not do that. Ladies, if you do that, you're a terrible person, and I hope, no, bad on you. Otherwise, yeah, it was, I don't know. A lot of people were like, oh my God, Kyler Murray. He made great throws towards the end there, but let's not forget that the first 3 quarters, he looked like shit. And he was struggling to even get the football down the field because that offensive line is whack as fuck. But there were some positives out of it. He did come back. He looked good on his final drive, and I have higher hopes for Murray. I know we talked about we think this thing's gonna fail. I don't know. It's too early to tell, but I did like what I saw. Also, Larry Fitzgerald looks like he could play until God, like forever. Like I honestly feel like he could be like Jerry Rice and just play until he's like 45, 50 years old. You know what I mean? Like his touchdown pass or his 2-point conversion was his 2-point conversion or his touchdown pass. Whatever, I think it was the touchdown pass. Yeah, it was the touchdown pass. His touchdown pass at the end of the game there to tie up the game. He looked so fucking quick, dude. He looks he looked fast as shit. I was like, where did he get this speed from? I was like, aren't you supposed to be 38 years old? Like, Jesus. So, but, I don't know, if you're Detroit, man, you've got to be deflated, right?
I mean, they're used to it, man. They're used to it. Detroit fans don't have any hope. They just expect and settle for mediocrity. So
yeah, I will say this too. T.J. Hawkinson, God, he looked like a stud. Did he not?
Yeah, he did. He had that one on the left sideline touchdown, or it was like a big ass gain. It may not have been a touchdown, but it was like a 45, 50-yard gain that he ended up.
Yeah. So and Matt Stafford gets his big target back that he hasn't had since really he's had Golden Tate, and technically he's had Kenny Galladay, but he hasn't had that target since Calvin Johnson. So we'll see.
Yeah, I just think they have terrible play calling on offense. And I think Patricia may be able to do some good things on defense there. I don't know. I don't really expect it. I don't ever see them getting over an 8-8, 9-7 hump, and I think giving them 9-7 is generous. So
yeah,
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. So okay. But otherwise, I mean, what did you think of Kyler Murray?
He was rattled all 3 of the 4 quarters, and then the fourth quarter, it was I think it was a no fear moment.
Yeah, he had his fight or flight.
Yeah, I mean, they were going to lose regardless. I think he kind of settled into his throws a little bit, but I mean, if you throw pressure at him and the D linemen put their hands in the air, and I could visibly see that he was struggling to see the fucking field. And if he couldn't see the field, he was bootlegging out left or right and just kind of there's nothing there. And then the D line would move and shift to get in front of him, so he cuts the run off. It was a weird dynamic. It was like if he had bootlegged out, because he couldn't see, and then run the ball, he probably could have gotten some yardage. But you also don't want to be the guy who just runs the fucking ball and doesn't try to make passes, So I don't know. It was rough, and it's scary to think that he went up against a mediocre defense.
Yeah.
So
it'll be interesting to see, especially since this week they have the Ravens. So
yeah, the Ravens are gonna whoop their ass. I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens put on a similar performance again, like Marquise Brown, deep.
Yeah.
Run game. Do I see fucking 59 points? No, but it's gonna be another ass whooping.
Yeah.
So
okay, move on from that. San Francisco, Tampa Bay. That was my game I have. Obviously, I'm in the Tampa Bay area, so I had that locally. Everybody was like, Jameis, how Arians is gonna fix Jameis. You can't fix Jameis. It's over. It's done. This is the last year he's gonna be in Tampa, and you Bucs fans can finally move on from hero ball Jameis Winston, because I swear to God, I texted you guys
Ryan
this.
Tannehill.
Oh my God, dude. I texted you guys in the chat, but you don't understand. I laughed so fucking hard when he threw that second pick six of the game, because that's what Jameis Winston does. Jameis Winston at home, when the chips are down, he does not fight like an Andrew Luck, like a Tom Brady. He makes the worst mistakes because he tries to play that hero ball shit, and it doesn't work. And he never will fix it because he still thinks he's at Florida State. And that was the worst thing that the Bucs could have done for him, was draft him to be the franchise quarterback, because he went to Florida State. He's from the area, so he still thinks he's the big bad man on campus. And guess what, Jameis? You're not. You're not the big bad man on campus. You are an average quarterback who can put up numbers because you have a top 5 wide receiver and a top 5 tight end and a top 15 or 20 wide receiver, and that's about it. And because you have no run game. That's why you put up numbers and yards and stuff like that. Not because you're that talented, but because you have great weapons around you. I could be in that offense and throw for fucking 400 yards.
Simmer down.
So I don't get it. I don't get it. Everybody was talking about the hype of Jameis Winston, and
That's what they saw. They saw what Arians did with Carson Palmer, man. That's what I saw. And you want to hope that something good happens out of it. Because then Bruce Arians is, I don't even know. I've never seen him draft his own fucking quarterback. I have yet to see him do that.
I know. That's a scary thing to think about. But they're going to have to do it this year because Jameis ain't the answer.
Unless they go after a fucking vet again.
Probably. I mean that realistically could happen. Maybe an Eli. Oh God. Ugh. God, I don't even want to say that. Ugh.
Does he pull Andrew Luck out of retirement?
That'd be amazing. That would be like the biggest that would be the biggest plot twist of.
I mean, they were boys when Andrew was at his best. He was under Arians.
But you're gonna have to give up like 4 first-round picks for Andrew Luck.
Do the Colts still have the rights to him?
Yes, the Colts put him on the reserve retired list. So basically, if he ever decides to come out of retirement, so right now his contract is like, it's not null and void, but it's static. So right. It's, I think the cap charges still hurt or happen or whatever. But yeah, unless the Colts decide to release him, his contract's still there, and if he ever decides to come back, he's a Colt.
Yeah, gotcha.
So yeah, they're gonna have to trade like 4 first-round picks for him, and I just don't see it happening.
I wouldn't say. I'd say 2. I wouldn't say 4.
I don't know. You're talking about.
Yeah, but you're talking about a player that maybe isn't fully in it, so you can use that as leverage and a negotiating tactic. I'm not going to give
we'll split the hairs. We'll split the hair and say 3.
2 firsts and like a third. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
It was a hypothetical.
Yeah. San Francisco's defense was okay. Jimmy Garoppolo was okay.
Yeah, that's
whatever.
Game, goddamn.
Yeah. So nothing impressed me though about this game. It was good. I mean, it was a good dogfight, but otherwise it was kind of boring. So, all right, the Sunday night game, an absolute ass whooping. The Pittsburgh Steelers went into New England, and oh fuck.
Yeah, they were honestly the worst team this week in the NFL.
Yeah. They had no answers to the defense. They had no offense or no answers to Brady's offense. And guess what? There's a possibility, depending on what these allegations happen, there's a possibility Antonio Brown plays this week, and Tom Brady fucking plays the Dolphins. So if you have Tom Brady on your fantasy league this week, have fun. Enjoy the points.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, I mean, good on the Patriots, by the way, to trade Brissett. I mean, that was probably the most even trade now that it's happened, was Brissett for Dorsett, because Dorsett was kind of a lost cog in Indianapolis, and he's gone to New England, and yeah, he won't be a starter next week, but he looked great in the first game. I thought he looked fantastic. So I think it was an apples for apples type trade, and I think great on the Patriots and great on the Colts to get those types of players. Otherwise, I mean, it's going to be a long year in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
You think this is the end of Mike Tomlin this year?
It very well could be. I mean, they believed him with, we need to get rid of these 2 players to get it back together. Well, they did. So yeah, it's very possible. I mean, they wanted him fired a year or 2 ago. So
if the Steelers finish like 4-12, 5-11, I think Tomlin goes. I don't even think he retires or he gets fired. I think he just resigns. And I think Ben Roethlisberger retires, and they can move on. They can get a quarterback in this draft. That's only if they finish like 4-12, 5-11, stuff like that. If they go 8-8 or whatever, I mean, I could see maybe one more run. But yeah, I don't know. It just didn't look good. Their defense looked like shit. Their offense looked like shit. It was bad times. Whereas New England, they're Super Bowl contenders still. I mean, it's incredible what Tom Brady's doing at the age of 40. Was it 42?
Yeah.
Fuck, man. I wish I could be that good at 42. Instead, I'm probably gonna be, kind of average, maybe a little mediocre. So, all right, let's try to wrap these games up. Best game of the week, I think, Houston, New Orleans. Houston had them on the ropes in the first half. New Orleans came back in the second half. Houston scores that, had, the ball with like 50 seconds left, run down the field within 2 plays, score a touchdown. And then they missed an extra point that got called back for a roughing the kicker, which I guess, yeah. But I feel like that rule has to change. I don't know about you. But
yeah, there needs to be more clarity on it.
Yeah, because
there's roughing, and then what's the other?
Running into the kicker.
Yeah.
And, I mean, regardless, it happened, but, when you're trying to block a field goal and you're trying to stop your momentum, I mean, you can't. It'd be one thing if, it happened, 5 seconds after the play or something. But it was pretty much bang, bang, and that's why they missed the extra point that when they retried, they got it back and kicked it through. Regardless, you gave Drew Brees 37 seconds, which is more than enough time for Drew Brees. And basically, I heard it on the radio the other day, and this is the truth. There was no pressure on Will Lutz. And what I mean by that is that Will Lutz, it's a 58-yard field goal. Yes, there's pressure to make it, but guess what? It's 58 yards. If you miss it, it's you tried your best. Oh, well. But if you make it, you're the biggest fucking hero with the biggest dick in the locker room.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a great game. But, yeah, Houston needs to tighten some things up. They released Aaron Colvin. Kind of surprised about that because, they just paid him a bunch of money last year, so... And he started this year, but they're like, you're gone, bye. So,
yeah.
Any other thoughts or nah?
It was an exciting game. I mean, what a great first Sunday night game to start off the season. So,
Yeah.
But this is how the Texans lose. This is how they lose most of their games. Crazy ass, boneheaded, weird shit like this. It's just what? Any other game, any other team playing, they win the game.
Yeah.
Prevent defense, bruh. Learn about it. But anyway, and then we're gonna move on to this fucking Oakland game, where Oakland actually won a game and looked impressive. They somehow kept Von Miller and fucking
Bradley Chubb.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I moved this on kind of
No.
aggressively.
No, it's okay.
But I'm getting ready for dinner, and I'm ready to do these picks, and I gotta think about playing the Broncos and how badly they lost, and now we gotta play them. It's not good.
Yeah. I thought Joe Flacco didn't look particularly well, even though he had the most yards in the game. I don't think he looked that well. Especially since Oakland lost Gary and Conley, which thank God he's okay.
Yeah.
and now they've lost Jonathan Abraham, or Abrams, I should say. Potentially for the year, they're still trying to figure it out. But I mean, he played the rest of the game. I think Pat McAfee said that he went up for a tackle, got the tackle, dislocated his shoulder, and got up, winced in pain, popped it back in play, and then played the rest of the game, which I fucking love. I don't know how much Hard Knocks you watched. I love Jonathan Abrams. He is, without a doubt, I think he was my favorite part of the Hard Knocks. That man plays with so much love and passion for the game, and he's just such a big goofball, but like necessary for a team. Yeah, I love him. I hope injuries are not commonplace for him because I want him to stay in the league forever. Because he's amazing. I love him to death. Seriously, I have a man crush on him, dude. They played the first practice without pads, and he fucking hit stick the motherfucker. And John Gruden's like, you can't do that. We're practicing without pads. He goes, I don't care. He's like, I need to prove that I'm the shit, essentially. Like, I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, that's the kind of player I want on my team. So, but yeah, hopefully he gets better. But Derek Carr looked awesome, I thought. I think he proved that he doesn't need Antonio Brown.
And Josh Jacobs looks really good.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs is going to be a stud. So, yeah, good win for Oakland.
I did see Vic Fangio doing something that I don't miss as a Bears fan. He was using his best players that should be pass rushing and putting them in coverage. Stop doing that, Vic. Stop doing that, okay? Just stop.
Stop it.
You can't ask a linebacker to cover someone who fucking runs a 4-3. Like, I just think about Leonard Floyd in coverage. It looked like a fucking giraffe trying to fight a squirrel. Like, what? It's just like, you're like this big dopey looking thing. Like, what do I do? I rush the quarterback. Why am I playing cornerback? It's just not a good look, bro. It's just not a good look.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's it. That was week 1. It was a weird week, but I tell you what, love it. Excited for week 2. Tonight we've got what game do we got tonight? It's the Tampa Bay versus Carolina.
It's tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow? Oh yeah, it is tomorrow. God damn. My brain's not working. All right, yeah, tomorrow we've got Tampa Bay versus Carolina. See, I'm so excited for football, I don't even know what day it is. So, Tampa Bay versus Carolina, which is going to be the revenge game, the Gerald McCoy revenge game, which I'm excited for. But as it stands for the golden gift card, the $50 gift card that we got last year, that Bronson won for being the best picker. As it stands, I had to include the tie in our record, which I fucking hate. But Bronson
it makes it look nice and cool.
Yeah. Bronson had Bronson and I had the same record at 9-6-1, and John took a 1-game lead over top of us at 10-5-1. So,
all right, let's kick this shit off.
All right.
You got John's picks queued up. We'll just say his first every time.
So Tampa Bay versus Carolina in Carolina. John has Carolina winning this game. I'm up next. I have also got Carolina. The Buccaneers are garbage this year. So, Bronson.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Panthers. They'll get me a win this week.
Which I know you hate saying because, watch, they're going to be the Ravens this year to you. They're going to be the team that you always pick to win and they never win, and then you pick them to lose and they fucking win.
Yeah, probably right.
San Francisco versus Cincinnati. John, not from Beyond the Grave, just normal John, picked San Francisco. This is a toss-up game, especially with how well Andy Dalton played. I'm going to go with San Francisco, though, only for the simple fact that he's playing better cornerbacks. So, and Richard Sherman looked amazing, I thought. So, Bronson?
All right. Well, let's make something clear from a strategic standpoint. I'm going to take the 49ers, but I truly and genuinely believe if the 49ers played anything like they did last week, this week, the Cincinnati Bengals will win this game.
Yeah.
They just looked so much better on offense than the Niners did. I just have a hard time believing that Cincy cannot win this game. But I am going to go 49ers just from a strategic standpoint. You can put an asterisk since.
No asterisks. This isn't baseball. All right. Chargers versus Detroit. Bronson, Chargers.
Chargers.
John's got the Chargers. I've got the Chargers as well. Minnesota, Green Bay. John's got Minnesota. I'm going to surprise everyone. I'm going to go Green Bay. I think Green Bay, I think that their defense proved a lot last week, especially against a pretty good offensive line for the Bears. And Minnesota still got an okay average offensive line. I think they're going to dominate. So I'm going to go Green Bay.
This is the test I want to see Green Bay do. Like I think they're going to get their asses whooped. The Minnesota Vikings. If there's a team in our division that scares Aaron Rodgers the most, it's the Vikings. And by the Vikings, I mean one fucking guy, Anthony Barr. Anthony Barr almost left. He's back. He's staying. He has single-handedly caused Aaron Rodgers, I think, 2 injuries on his own. He has made Aaron Rodgers say some very, very racial stuff on the field. He's been known to get under Aaron's skin more so than probably anyone in the NFL. So yeah, I'm taking the Vikings here. I expect to see the Packers defense not play as well as it did week 1 against the Bears. I think Aaron's offensive struggles are going to come to light again. God, I'm talking like I'm talking last week, picking the Bears to win against the fucking Packers. So yeah, I just think with how well Minnesota played last week, I think, and how committed they are to running the ball, I think Green Bay may struggle. I'm going to take the Vikings here.
Nice. Indianapolis versus Tennessee. John's got Indianapolis. I too am also going to take Indianapolis. Bronson.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good game.
Indy versus Tennessee. What's Darius Leonard's status?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he got hurt last week.
Let's see. He is... No, it looks like he's good to go from what I'm seeing.
Okay. Oof. Yeah, I'll take the Colts here.
All right.
Just because I think the Colts bounce back after that tough loss and win this game. Tennessee falters a little bit.
Yeah.
If Leonard's not there, though, man, Derrick Henry is going to demolish that fucking front seven.
Oh, yeah, he is. New England versus Miami. New England. Everybody's got New England.
Can we just agree to not ever pick the Miami games? Save ourselves a couple minutes.
All right, we'll do that, but on the caveat that can't be our.
No! I changed my mind. I don't want that because that's gonna be like my ghost pepper pick every time.
Exactly. So let's not.
I knew what you were about to go with. I heard your word caveat, and I was like, no, abort.
Abort.
I take it back.
Another could be potential good game. Buffalo versus the Giants. John's got the Giants.
God.
I'm gonna go with Buffalo.
God.
I think Josh Allen takes that next step. I think their defense isn't that good. I think Buffalo's front sevens gonna wreak havoc on Eli Manning. So they're gonna put a lot of weight on Saquon Barkley. So Saquon's gonna get stats, but they're not gonna win.
Hold on here. All right, yeah, I'm taking the fucking Giants as well. I'm picking strategy here, man, because I know I got maybe 1 or 2 games where I'm gonna have to go against John here.
So you're taking the Giants?
Yeah, it's gonna be
Alright.
really fucking close, though. It's gonna be really fucking close.
Yeah. This could be a potential game of the week right there. So,
The potential game of the week if we were talking about bad games, but
Seattle versus Pittsburgh. John's got Seattle. I also have Seattle. Bronson.
Seahawks, they're not at home, are they?
No, it's at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm going to take Pittsburgh here.
You're going to take Pittsburgh. Okay.
Told you I got 1 or 2 here.
All right, let's see here. I know, it's going to be... Again, these ones, a couple of these are going to be like, fuck, like, which one do we go for? So, Dallas versus the Redskins. John's got Dallas. Bronson?
Dallas.
Yeah, I got Dallas too. If we can play like we did in the first half, man, I mean, we might get a shot, but I don't see it. Arizona versus Baltimore. John's got Baltimore. Go figure. I'm also going to take Baltimore. Bronson?
Yeah, I live in Baltimore, and I'm not going to be a Baltimorean. I'm going to have to take Baltimore this week, sadly.
Jacksonville, Houston. John's got Houston. I'm also going to go Houston. I think they recover from their loss. And
take me down to Houston. Yep, that's going to... Yep. That's my pick.
Kansas City, Oakland. John's got KC. Bronson?
KC.
Yeah, I got KC as well. Chicago versus Denver. John's got Chicago. I'm also going to take the Bears. Bronson?
I'm taking Denver.
Oh, God. I knew you were going to take Denver, too, because we were talking about it. You're like, fuck, I got to face Vic Fangio next week.
Dude, I'm telling you, Vic Fangio we're going to his town, their home game, their first one of the season. They are literally 30-0, I think, since 1992 come week 2 at home. They don't lose games at home the first 3 weeks of the season. That's going to be my Bears. If they're not in Denver right now practicing, they're not ready. Okay, they needed at least 5 days to get their bodies ready, minimum for the altitude. This game just feels like the Miami game last year, where we literally got blindsided because of weather and the element of the game. Denver will be ready to go. The Bears will not. It will be low scoring. I think the Bears run the ball the entire game. Limit Mitch Trubisky's chances. I think it's just going to be it's going to be almost identical to last week. Just low scoring on both affairs. It's going to be just running the ball. Eddie Pinheiro may have to kick a game winner. We'll see. But yeah, I don't feel good about this one. I just don't.
All right. Not a problem there. All right. We've got, here I have to get his picks back up. We've got the New Orleans Saints versus the Rams. It's an NFC Championship matchup, but this time it is going to be in L.A. John has taken the Rams. Bronson.
there's no fucking way the Saints lose to the Rams again, right? Like, no fucking way. Like, the NFL can't let them happen. If there was a game that was scripted and already decided, it's this one. Like, this is the NFL's way of saying, we're sorry. We fucked
My
up.
bad. Yeah.
We paid for the refs this week. You just go buck wild. Do whatever you want. And you're going to win in their stadium? Yeah, I'm taking the Saints. No fucking way they lose this game, right?
I'm gonna take the Saints as well. I think the Rams still have a ways to go on offense, and I think New Orleans just look like they're firing on all cylinders, especially with the emotional win like last week or whatever. They're gonna be more pissed off for this game. So, oh yeah, John made me want to mention too about the Arizona Baltimore game that he said. I swear to God, if Ravens fans boo Suggs on Sunday, I will leave work, drive to Baltimore, and bitch slap every fan who booed him. And he put fan in quotation marks. So, yeah, cheer for Suggs, I guess. Except when he makes plays, I guess. I don't know. Sports are weird. Philadelphia versus Atlanta. John's got Philadelphia. I will also take, I'll take Philadelphia as well. Atlanta didn't impress me much. I think they Atlanta continues their struggles during the first couple weeks. Bronson?
Yeah, I'm taking Eagles.
All right. And then finally, the Monday night game. It is the Cleveland Browns versus the New York Jets. And John has taken the New York Jets. Bronson.
You go before me. Come on now.
Bitch.
I just did that. You made me go second last time here.
Fine. I've got Cleveland.
Yeah, this is a tough fucking game. This is the Monday Nighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to take the... Yeah, John's really hoping for a straight-up pandemonium in Cleveland after the... If the Jets were to win this game, pandemonium ensues, right?
Yeah.
I'm taking Cleveland. No
Yeah.
fucking way they lose after last week.
If they lose, it's pandemonium. It's going to be the meltdown of the century. So, like, Baker won't be able to contain himself, and it's going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
from
fucking Derek Anderson on the goddamn. Do you remember his meltdown when he was a Cardinal?
Yeah, it's going to be like that or whatever. So,
Yeah.
all right. And that about does it. That does it for the picks this week. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. It all kicks off tomorrow with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Carolina Panthers. Bronson, go ahead and pip your shit out, yo.
You can find me on Twitter at Bronson, IOUS, pronounced Bronsonius. You can find me on Insta at Chefman Bronson, or you can find our Insta podcast page, which is Pass Interference Podcast.
Yes,
Thank
which we will go ahead and we need to get back on the social media aspect.
John, you know what we should do? Dude, this is what we should do every week. I want you to make like a picture with like the team logos and shit, and then put our things on it. We can post our picks every week there.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah,
We
I
get like
think-
little logos, make like a template, and then you can put everyone's initials by like the teams or whatever, like matchups. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we should work on that. So,
Yeah.
we should get John to do it because he's
See,
not here.
ideas right here. See, ideas don't happen when John's on here.
we should get John to do it. Be like, John, stop being a lazy bitch asserson and get your shit done. So, and you can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at OGLiquidJesus, and you can find me streaming video games occasionally on Twitch at LiquidJesus1. I think this week on Friday I'll be streaming Gears of War 5 with the boys. So that's LPXDC and the Necromancer, aka John. So John's finally gonna get into streaming, which we're gonna see how that works. I told him that he needs to do test streams, and he has yet to do a test stream. So, woo boy. So, anyways, that about does it. That wraps it up. And yeah, goodbye everybody.